Hi, everybody. We are engaging in heaven's realms today. We feel very mellow. We want to go and drink together. By the way, it is the, let's see, it is the 16th. Was it the, yeah, 16th of October, 2018. And we feel very mellow, and we're going to drink and meet together in the treasury room and see where we were led from there. So let's engage together in the treasury room, everybody. Immediately, I'm seeing Jesus with us, and as I look, I see that this treasury room is huge. It just seems to go on forever.
Yes, and it's very, very tall as well.
Well, I saw us as a group standing there, and there was like an angel or being welcoming us, like a treasure keeper or administrator type of person. And I saw us standing in a row, and like liquid gold wine being poured out for all of us. And I also just had a sense of what has value, what is precious, what is in a treasury, isn't what we refer to as earthly gold or precious stones, but it's life. And yeah, good.
Yes, I heard this angel ask, "What would you like?" And he kind of swept his hand over, like presenting this massive room to us. Like, what do you want to choose? It's all yours for the taking.
I was reminded of the Lord's Prayer that says, give us this day our daily bread, but instead of daily bread was our daily provision.
Well, when I was looking in this treasury room, I realized that I've got a pair of roller skates on and a very sparkly sort of outfit. And I think it's just a bit of fun, really, but it's all diamond and sparkly, but it's so that I can just roller skate around this huge big place, get around quite quickly, and just have a look round. So I feel like we mustn't take it too seriously. If we get all serious and too grown up about it, we'll miss some things.
I would like to be free from the constraints of having to worry about money and just getting it and stuff like that. But it's like what It's like what a few people said also, fixing our eyes on heaven and relying on his provision, but realizing that God has given us an abundance.
Yeah, I see it as the place of every possible blessing. And I was thinking, I put those roller skates on too then. And shall we drink with the golden goblets of the wine that's been given to us?
Yes, and there's it's like a roller disco dance floor.
Sorry, Monis, it wasn't a golden goblet. So it was golden liquid, right?
Yes, like golden liquid, the wine, the good stuff.
Mm. Yeah, because gold is the highest frequency. Yeah.
Yes, because as I was just engaging, I just have a sense of our frequency, the frequency of who we are, and our royalty is actually the things that pulls things in a natural towards us.
Yeah.
It's just who we are, the royalty, and then the frequency we carry.
Yeah, because gold is the best conductor of electricity, of the frequency. That's why we were made that way, right? So I'm drinking it as to life.
Cheers, everyone.
Yes, cheers.
Yeah,
Love
cheers.
it.
Yes.
Mhm.
More
Mhm.
gold, yes. Amen.
Gimel.
Ah, thank you, Lord.
Thank you, Lord.
Mm.
Reminded of the Gimel, drinking the full supply of God.
Mm. And it's kind of the word coming to me too is goodness. It's like this golden drink is goodness. The goodness of God.
And all the sweet fruitiness of it.
And it's got so much joy in it, of course. So I just wait to see us just laughing.
I also saw it just as I drank it, just the radiating of his glory,
Uh-huh.
just bursting forth from within. Oh, yes.
Well, it's got bubbles in that glory. Bubbles.
Yeah, it's got the bubbles that like radiate that glory of the true body, transformed body. Mm.
When Alana said bubbles, I had bubbles of joy.
Mm.
Yes, yes. Matter of fact, I was ready to lift my goblet up to ask for more, and it was already filled again. And it's
Hallelujah.
like a never-ending supply. We don't even have to ask for more. It's already there. It's already provided for us.
Mm.
It's just up to us to drink it in.
Your cup will run over.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing those bubbles as they pop, as they come to the surface and they're going like a normal glass. That it's there's something that's being released. So with those bubbles, there's a release.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and when you said that, I heard fulfilling joy.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
It's like the frequency of that joy reverberating in every little particle of our being. Mm.
What I see is a little bit different. I see that we get, every one of us get new stuff like gifts to beautify our life and making things, having things, doing things much more higher efficiency. In a sense, like for example, we have old stuff at home, for example, like say an old fridge, for example, and it doesn't work so much anymore. So something new is coming in the house and take place instead of the old, much more modern, much more efficient, much more valuable, much more precious. And every one of us get that new stuff and put it into our lives. That's what I get from the treasury room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, before we even ask for it, I'm getting, it's going to come, it's given before we even ask for it. And I'm reminded of that, before we reap before we even sow. Yeah,
Yes.
that scripture that says that the reaper will overtake the sower of the seed. That before we even ask for it, these things all go. This is the place of that provision. This is what this provision of heaven is like, isn't it? Actually. Oh, Lord, thank you.
Yeah, I've got a sense of laughing in the face of our enemies.
Yeah.
And with the joy of the Lord is our strength.
Yeah.
And we can just laugh and enjoy the victory.
Yeah.
It's just a place of rest and a place of joy. And I'm enjoying the roller skates. This life.
It's like this golden glory that we just drank, this wine. It's actually permeating out of me, and it's creating this whirlwind around me, and I can hear it going as it's spinning around and around. It's like I'm in the middle of this gold dust whirlwind. It's like inside out, outside in. Everyone is invited to step in. To see it getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
I'm stepping in.
Yeah, me too. To me, it's like engaging the spirit of glory. Stepping into
Yes, I felt the same. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
As I stepped into it, it's like I became gold dust. I just became one with it, and I saw it like becoming a big whirlwind, like everybody just swooping up into it.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too. It's not like the color of gold, it's like gold dust.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like we're in a dust storm.
Yeah, a golden dust.
Yeah, it's a dust storm.
Oh.
And as I saw it, it actually like became solid, like sand that becomes glass. And I just saw this like the solid type of golden pillar or rock or thing forming. And I just heard the words, a display of my splendor. Just that flow of life through us, becoming that one of the display of the splendor of God.
whenever I step into a whirlwind, I automatically look up because I always feel like I'm being drawn to go upward, upward, upward in that spiral.
Yeah, and I'm just feeling the strong sense of unity of a body, of that as we became one. It's just that losing that identity of just myself and me and what I'm doing, but becoming into that oneness of being one together.
Well, if anyone who wants to join me of going upward, I just went up this whirlwind and broke through some upper waters into like a different, I don't know what you would call it. I just went through waters though, and went higher above the, this, I don't know, firmament. I don't know what you would want to call it, just upper waters.
Atmosphere?
Yeah, it's like a different, I don't know if it'd be different dimension or what, but it's like it's almost like I'm an aerial view over the treasure room, but going up, spinning up through the whirlwind. I went through waters, like a layer of waters.
It feels like this encounter is all about the Prince of Peace. Yeshua, the Prince of Peace. Because no matter where I go, he keeps showing up.
When you said that, Alana, about breaking through the waters, and as I was going through the waters as well and just letting them just flow through me, and I come to this place where it is a different atmosphere, and Doreen, you said peace, and what I got was a place of total innocence. Yeah.
Yes, and I was also hearing King of Righteousness, but when you said total innocence, it's like I don't know, it's like the innocence or righteousness of a little girl. Because I had just pictured that, like the sweet childlike innocence, which will sort of declare her righteous.
As I was going through the water, it was like this gold dust or sand stayed behind in the water. And as I went through the water to the top, it's like we became air, like wind, and just freshness, just a crisp, just a clarity, just a purity. Yeah, it's beautiful.
When I went through the waters, what I heard was, I will be with you in the waters. I'll go through the waters with you. And it brought me to a higher place where I could see like almost everything. And there was a sense of the peace and the joy you're all talking about overwhelming me. I think I'm engaging the Prince of Peace.
Yeah, it's a place where there's absolutely nothing contrary to God. Nothing is contrary to God. It's just so, it's peace. It's that place where there's nothing missing, nothing lacking, nothing broken, nothing outside of that perfect innocence. I think it's also the expression of our image again, our true identity, the righteous beings that we've been made, right? Innocent.
It's almost like going into the heart of God, of who we were before we were sent here. Like the place of our, that total innocence, that total, like you said, nothing broken, nothing, there's nothing missing. There's just this completeness, this innocence of completeness. Like I've never seen before, ever. It's almost like this sense, like I said, going back to who we were in Father before we came here. That's all I can explain. Like, so it's so peacefully overwhelming.
I'm thinking that maybe we each had our own little garden before we came here. That's how it seems, as if we may have all been just placed in a garden where we commune with Yeshua. Yeah, and he watched over us.
No, the sense I have is just a pure union, just a pure, fresh, clean union.
And did you all know that one of the names of peace, the root word is oneness, union with God, oneness. As he is, so are we. That's how I'm feeling, that unity, that oneness. Nothing can separate me from him.
And it's almost like seeing ourselves in Father before in the Godhead before, or at the time, should I say, if you want to put time there, when the desire and the image intent that Father and Yeshua and Holy Spirit had to create us. It was like, when you imagine something and then now you start to create what you've imagined. It is almost like as if we're in that place of the imagined mind of Father, Yeshua, and Holy Spirit about us. The full intent and desire of what the Godhead's purpose was of creating us. It's almost like we're in that place before we were even created,
Yes, in his heart and in his mind. And as you're saying that, it's like, yes, that's exactly where I'm feeling that we are, and just so wrapped with that intent. We're so encapsulated with such immense love. Just that love and that desire that he has at that moment to create us.
I felt like saying, I am that being Lord.
Yes.
Yes, like I accept my full destiny, the fullness of it all,
In my full image,
and full identity, full authority and right. All you have for me.
It seems like the Father, like He spoke that to us, but the way how we heard it in the childlike innocence, we heard it in our spirit, and we actually, as a little child, because that's what I see, actually drew it out. So, you know how a young child would draw something in crayon or something like that, that we actually drew out our own um, blueprint, our own blueprint when we were in that early stage. And so we knew what it was from the beginning.
wow, yes, Doreen.
You know, they have proven that an unborn child can hear the words of the mother and her heartbeat and the love that she feels for that child. And it's like where we're at right now. It's like I can feel all of that. What you were saying, Michelle, of that, just that in his mind, in their mindset of that first intention of let's create. You know, it's like I can hear their conversation, their thought, their desire, and their love from within the heart of who he is. And I know I keep saying the same thing, but just that intention and the desire.
And the sense I have is that it's a higher dimension that, you know, that's a place where, you know, like faith doesn't exist, hope doesn't exist. It's just love. It's there's no needing to rule. There's no needing to take authority. It's just a place of love and just, yeah. At the beginning, I agree with that. But in the Father's heart, and I can hear just the thoughts. You know, what shall we do? And yeah, it's an awesome place.
I can definitely say I've never been here before, consciously that I know of, but it's like taking us back to where we once were. It's such a privilege. It's such a overwhelmingness to it. I'm in awe.
Okay. How much did you hear? I think I was trying to say it, and I think the blueprint that we saw when we were young, we presented it up to Father and said, this is who I am. This is what I'm created to do. And he received that from us, but he was like in the light of glory, and his glory was shining down upon us from this place where we were in the beginning before we came here. That's just how it seems, or in the essence of his heart and of his mind.
Let me see if I'm following you, Dorina. You're saying that we were in this place in the mind of the Godhead. And in that place, when the Godhead was talking, saying, let us make man in our image, then we were participating in putting that blueprint, creating that blueprint individually, and then presenting it to Father, or presenting it to the Godhead.
Yes, as the innocence of a child. So we knew what it was. We drew it out. We presented it up to him, and it was an agreement. And the Godhead, or it was just in the light of glory. So we couldn't, like, all we could see is light, and that light came down and engulfed us. And it's like that's what it was.
Doreen, that's just so freaky. As you were saying it, the whole time I've been repeating in my mind, we're in the Genesis 1:26, let us. We're in the let us of that verse. And as you were speaking, I saw that even when we were still in the intention, we were in the let us, and we already saw or knew, or don't know what the verb is, but we saw what our destiny was, and we presented that to the Father and says, Dad, can I do this? Or, Dad, I would like to do X, Y, and Z. And the Father said, okay. I think I think that's what it matches with what you were saying, but that was just very, very weird.
Yes, that's what it was. Basically. Yeah. Like we knew, and then we drew it out, and we presented it back, because originally it had to have come from him. So yeah.
I confirm all of those. I got similar. This is what I got. I also was in the place where let us create man, Genesis 1:26, and I was sitting at the right side, and I was creating things, and my heart, my desire was just like they say at that time, like God and the Son and Holy Spirit say that let us create man according to our image and the likeness and so. And what I got also, and I try to create something, and when it's done, and I say, I'm gonna change this. I don't like it so much. I'm gonna change to some other form. And I was when I did that, I was a little afraid that Father will be maybe not happy, but he said, yeah, it's okay, it's okay. When we were saying, let us create, it meant that we did what we want to do. So, or you, as you have a desire from us. So, and that was reflecting our image. So we are allowed to reflect and release our image also as they did, and that was one of our inheritance also. That's what I got so far. That was a treasure also. What I mean.
I just wonder, and again, I agree with it. It's as if when God said, let us, we presented the desire of our heart. It wasn't so, and I'm throwing it out there, and please correct me. It wasn't so much the Father saying, I would like you to do A, B, or C. It was the desire of our heart in that innocence, in that righteousness, in that being surrounded with his love and everything that God was, seeing God's intention and then saying, Father, could I please do this? Could this be my contribution, if I can use that word? This is my desire that I have. And the Father approved our desire versus us receiving a desire from the Father. So in the Father's desire, the same goalpost, we presented our desire to Him and God approved them.
Yes. But also then that the desire that we had was His desire for us. Yeah.
And I'm saying that it was all possible because we were in Him, and so we saw as He saw. The desire we had to be this and that was a desire He had for us to be this and that anyway. So it was like we were seeing what He wants for us, and that is what we desired for ourselves, and He agreed.
It's kind of like
Go on, Michelle.
It's kind of like, it'll come back to me.
It's like Jesus saying, I see the Father do and I do. I hear Him say and I say. Because He was always with Him, He was one with Him. That time we were in Him like that, we were one with Him, one in Him. And so we were seeing what He was seeing. And He allowed us to paint it out as we saw it in Him and through Him. Like He told Jeremiah, before you were born, I knew you. Mm-hmm. And Jeremiah, before you were born, you knew yourself. We agreed on this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like that, before there was an expression, an external, if you want to put it, expression of us. We were birthed in the thought of God. We the whole thing, the whole reality of us, the children, the sons were born in the heart and mind of the Godhead. And that's where we were having this discussion before we actually were formed in the natural. You know what I mean? We're talking about the birth of us.
Yeah.
What I'm seeing is, I saw this as being one with God like a wind. And I saw this massive like fire or flame. And I saw this wind blowing like into this flame. And as it blew into the flame, we were created as small flames coming out of a big flame, or the wind passing into the fire. And as we came out as smaller flames, I saw that we responded to Him and saying, Father, can we be a pillar in your house? And I saw how we changed into fiery pillars. And I saw just these lots and lots of fiery pillars in the house of the Lord. And the sense I have is that response to Him of a desire to bring Him glory and to bring Him honor and to be a pillar in His house.
Yes, yes. And I'm seeing, even and again, because we were in Him and we were aware of His desire, and it was our desires were an expression of His desires. But even Adam, and this is what I'm thinking, is that Adam, when he named the animals, he knew what God wanted it to be, or he saw what God had in mind, and then he spoke it into being. He saw the finished product in the Father's design, in the Father's thought, or wherever, and he just pronounced it. He just declared it, the same as the Father said, let it be. Adam said, well, Father, that which you desired, let it be. In very much the same way as we're saying now, is seeing the Father's desire, participating in that, and then having our own desire and giving that to the Father and saying, this is my desire, which is actually a demonstration or a reflection of your desire.
I think, yes, because He was the Son, And the way how sons are towards their fathers, how young children are towards their fathers, they just love them, you know, and everything the father wants, that's what they want. And so they would do what the father desired in order to please him. So it will be Father's desire and our desire, because our desire is his desire. And so that's what how Adam may have presented them.
I was just getting the tie or in with the fact that we came into the treasury room, the treasury house, and all of this has taken place and out of the treasury house, and it was just the expression again that we are the treasures. We are the Father's treasures.
Yes, we are. Wow. Hmm. That's good.
In earthen vessels, right?
I went back into the waters just to see, and as I was in those waters, I saw the living letters, and the living word, Yeshua, was washing us. So therefore, through Yeshua, we and the living word that cleanses and washes us completely into that transformed innocence, we have been put back in that exact same frame up that we've been engaging, that we recognize, well, we were like that in the beginning before we actually were manifested. We're looking in that. But now through Yeshua and the living letters, that he says that you're already made clean by the words which are spoken to you, by the living word, that through Yeshua we've been taken right back into that, nothing less than that fully complete intent. I think Patience said that. So it's not just that we're visiting something that was, but we are actually experiencing the restoration to being now.
What I also saw as I looked at all these pillars, that there was like not a foundation, but something was resting on these pillars. And the sense I got of it was also government. The governance was resting on these pillars in function, yeah.
I also saw when Michelle was talking about the that we are the Father's treasure. He said that, and I am your treasure. And as he said that, he put a crown on us. And he said, this crown is the sign that all that you prepared, all that you agreed to do and be, you will be. It's like a seal on it. You will be.
Absolutely 100% agree that we are. We will be and we are in that exact image.
Yes, agree with that and receive that. Yes.
Let and receive it too.
We know there's the idea that when we finish it all, he'll give us a crown, but he's giving us a crown now because to him, we have already finished.
Yes.
Amen. I'm hearing is, you are my word, and you will not return to me void. You are returning to me accomplished and fulfilled.
I heard the similar thing, Patience. I was just meditating in Jesus being the living word and the living testimony of our true image, and that he is the frame up as the living word, and we are the living word too. So I completely agree with you. That's beautiful.
Yes, Lord. What is coming to me is a little weird, but I'm going to say it because it has come. This is the second time it's coming to me. It's coming to me, this lady, I think her name is Nancy Coleman. Nancy Coleman, yeah. And she said that she saw Judas in heaven, and she was surprised. And so she went to talk to the Father about it. And what he said is that, yeah, he's here. And what he did, selling Jesus to the Jews to kill him, to crucify him, was his assignment. That is what he agreed in heaven to come to earth to do. They were dialoguing that if he is to die, somebody has to sell him. Somebody has to betray him. Who will do it? And Judas agreed to do it. But he didn't remember when he was on earth. He just walked that pathway. So when Jesus said that somebody's here drinking with me, you know what you have to do, get up and do it, he remembered and got up and did it. And I'm like, wow, a strange destiny, right? Well, it's coming to me, so I want to share with you, or I don't know what you want to do with it, but that's it.
That's really good, Patience.
That shoots some theology in the foot. That's beautiful.
Yeah, because if that was it, then that was one of the most important assignments ever given. You know, because without that, then none of us would really be sons and Yeshua and going to the places that we go today, being in Him and Him in us.
And if he had not assigned it, I don't think anybody in his right mind would do it. To serve the professor, the prophets, the rabbi, you know? And what he speaks to me is that at times you don't understand what's happening with you. You might want to see some things happen, they haven't happened, you're going some other way than you think should go. Probably this is part of your assignment. So it's good to go talk to him. Because in the end, it will end well if it's of him.
You know, the word says that Yahweh hardened Pharaoh's heart. And religiously thinking years ago, I just thought that how could that be? Why would why would God ever do that? But he's been kicking over a lot of sacred cows in my journey in the last couple of years of things that we've questioned, and just that, like, Judas was on an assignment, and that was his assignment that he fulfilled. Same thing with Pharaoh. It was God who hardened Pharaoh's heart. It was his assignment so that the children of Israel would be sent out. And it also shows that in Philippians it says, "For it is God who works in us to will and to do his good pleasure."
Well, I'm also seeing something interesting, and that is that as I looked at these pillars, I saw that it was connecting at the top and the bottom. And at first, I thought that something from the top was resting on these pillars, but I saw that it was going into this dimension. And as I looked from above, I saw that these pillars actually became portals, and that we as the pillars are the access point between heaven and earth. And I saw that as these pillars were just growing and the numbers were increasing and they were starting to function in the mandates and the function, that the pillars started expanding and expanding until there was complete access between the two heaven and earth dimensions.
It's like I see the pillar standing between heaven and earth. It's so strange. It's like earth is heaven is the background, and earth is just underneath them. So, and I see it as like sort of clouds and blue sky and like sort of like heaven, right? And then, but below it looks more um dark, dark, and like stars and stuff that represents Earth. So it's like the pillars are somewhere in the cosmos between heaven and earth.
It sounds, well, with the pillars, but it sounds like Psalm 24 that says, we are the gates and we are the everlasting doors, that pillar. And even as Jesus was the door, no one gains access to the Father but through him, so heaven gains access to earth through us as gates, as doors.
So you think that's how it is when it says, lift up your heads and ye gates and be ye lifted up, ye everlasting doors? Maybe we get lifted into a place just somewhere near that firmament that we were speaking of earlier. And that's where the activity takes place, as gates and as doors and as pillars and as portals.
Does everybody feel complete?
The pieces that are left, yes.
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 Yep.
Yes.